Hi everyone, and welcome to my Get Ready With Me kind of red edition, I guess. But let's get started. Let's cut to the chase. First off, I always use Urban Decay Primer Potion all over my eyelid and up into my eyebrows just because I don't have a lot of eyebrows, so I draw them on. I feel like I should fill these empty spaces. Anyway, I use the e.l.f. eyeshadow palette, just the powder side. I used to use the wax, but I really don't like it. So I just kind of fill in the basic shape of the front part of my eyebrow, which is really all that's left. And then I draw on the tail end. And then I use a pencil, a Maybelline pencil, I think, just to kind of set it all down and make sure that it all sticks. Just because I live in Kentucky and it does get really hot, so I'm always worried that my eyebrows are just kind of gonna melt off in the middle of the day and I'll be walking around with a full face of makeup and no eyebrows, which is not a good look for many people, mostly me. So I always make sure that they're pretty well set. So now I've got eyebrows, which is cool. And then I'm going to line both my upper and lower waterline with a black gel eyeliner by Maybelline Eye Studio in Black is Black. I've got pretty sensitive eyes and I don't normally line my waterline, but I found that this stuff both sticks really well and doesn't irritate my eyes. Oh, this is lovely. I bet y'all are loving this. I have a disclaimer. I'm not a makeup artist, and it's probably wrong how I do things. Next, we are going to use the Maybelline Hip Duo. This is dynamic, only the gold half, and I just pat that all over my lid, up into my crease on both eyes. For my highlight, I'm using Sephora's Aspen Summit number 23, which is pretty much my staple. It's either that or Urban Decay's, not Zero. Well, one of them. I don't remember. It's white. And then for the crease color, I'm not exactly sure if it's a blush or if it's an eyeshadow, but it's a sample from bareMinerals and it's called Shantung. It's a really great dusky rose, dusky red shade, and I love it. I wear it all the time. I use it as both an eyeshadow and a blush. I'll put down below what it actually is, if it's even still up, because I've had it for 5 or 6 months, so I'm not even sure that it's there on the website anymore. But I just kind of shade it out with a thin pencil brush, and then I use a fluffier but still dense brush to kind of bring it out over the edge of your brow bone, up out of the socket. And it does create that kind of sunken look, which I guess is what I'm going for, which is weird sounding. And then I use the Master Precise Eye Studio by Maybelline to do a cat eye, which I draw the bottom line first and then the top line and just kind of fill it in as I go. It's a really imprecise art that I still haven't really mastered. And I know I'm not supposed to do that to my eye. Don't tell me that. I know. I'm aware. Now I'm using the Maybelline Hip, another duo, this time in This is Dashing, and only the black side. It's a really nice matte black that it doesn't have the best payoff, so you do really have to layer it to get a nice deep black, but you know, it's one of my favorites simply because it is so smooth and it's so easy to work with for being a matte, because I found that mattes can be very difficult. So I'm just kind of filling in the V around my eyeliner. And now here's my trick for cleaning up fallout, which is why I don't do my foundation first. Scotch tape, man. It's not just for holding things together. So now I'm just kind of patting it in with a thinner brush, the black, just to kind of deepen it and darken it, so you can see what I mean. Adding a little bit of the Aspen Summit to the inner corners, and then a little bit of the Shantung to the center. And then now I'm adding a little bit of the Shantung on top of the black, just because there I felt that I had blended it out too much and it turned a kind of muddied brown, which I didn't really want. And now I'm adding more of the black back in. To kind of define everything. The mascara I'm using is Maybelline The Rocket, not the waterproof version. I believe this one is the brownish black, but almost always I go with the darkest black I can, but I just bought the wrong one this time. But it works fine, I love it, it's a great mascara. So now I'm finally going to put on my foundation, and I use the bareMinerals Prime Time. It really smooths everything out, fills in your pores, but not in a way that makes you look super fake. And it's one of the few that doesn't make me break out. Since I do have sensitive skin, I haven't had any problems with this since I've been using it. And then I'm using 2 shades of the Maybelline Fit Me Shine Free Foundation Sticks. The lighter one is 120, which is Classic Ivory, and the deeper one is 130, which is Buff Beige. Because I do have an uneven skin tone, and I'm darker around the edges than I am in the center, and I need like a 125, which obviously Maybelline doesn't make, so I just kind of blend the two together on my face just to kind of get that custom color that I need. Kind of looks like a Klingon there for some reason. And then I am using concealer here. It's the bareMinerals concealer in Light Tube. I really like it. It's pigmented enough so that it covers my really dark circles, but it's really light. It sets really well. The only time I really get creases in my concealer is when I'm outside and it's really hot, which it does too in Kentucky. And then to set everything, I like to use Rimmel's Stay Matte Pressed Powder, and this is just the transparent version. And then for my contouring, of which I'm not doing a lot in this look because I think the eyes pretty much define it all, I'm using the Too Faced Pink Leopard bronzing powder, and it's a really interesting color set with kind of mid-tone browns and then the typical browns, and then there's also some pinks in it, which really complements my skin tone, but I think it would complement a lot of skin tones. And that's pretty much the extent of my contouring right there. And then the blush that I'm using is an Eyes Lips Face blush in Pink Passion, and it's really pigmented, so you can don't be heavy-handed. Otherwise, you'll look like a clown, which, you know, you can do that if you want. And then, since I am Muslim, I do wear a hijab almost all the time. I don't put my makeup on while wearing hijab. This is a silk mock scarf. I think it's actually 100% polyester, but it's really nice, really airy. I'll put a link below where I bought it from. And it's square, which isn't... Square scarves aren't really fashionable for hijabis anymore, because it was like kind of a 1970s. You think of your mom as wearing square silk scarves, but I think they can still be pretty fashionable while still being really modest. But it was giving me a lot of problems today, obviously. But with a material like this, because it is so silky, I almost always wear an underscarf anyway. You can call them underscarves, undercaps, bonnet caps. But just the material itself, it sticks to each other, so I use the straight pins to hold it down. You don't necessarily have to use the straight pins, but I just think it helps, especially when it's windy out, which it was today. Now you've got two ends of that. You choose an end, it doesn't matter which one, they're the same length. Wrap it around. Fix the back to make sure that your pin in the front's covered. And then you take another straight pin and pin that tail to the top of your head. While not stabbing yourself, that's always the key. So you take that other tail then, make it cooperate, figure out where you want to pin it. I like using no-slip hijab pins, which you can pretty much get at any scarf retailer that sells hijabs. Basically, it's just a safety pin that's covered in plastic so that it doesn't, the fabric doesn't loop around the coils of the pin. Then you pin that tail, or you can let it hang. Fix it up, and you're done. Well, except for that one last pin. Better safe than sorry with that first tail. So there you go. This is my get ready with me. Here's how the back of my head looks. Now here's how I look. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys later.